is time for my recap slash review of the final episode of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. First off, thank you to everybody who has watched the video I posted yesterday so far of my dad, my brother, and I, and our little trip to Crossroads Village in Huckleberry Railroad. It was so fun and so magical, and it was really nice to get out and do something. Like I mentioned in the video, I'm kind of bummed because we're not going down to Frankenmuth or Bronner's this year for Christmas. We're really not able to do a lot of the stuff we usually do at Christmas. Hopefully next year we'll be able to do a lot more. So it was so nice to be able to go out and see some Christmas lights and have some fun. So it was really nice to do that. Just a really quick little thing. And thank you so much for watching that video. And like I said, today it is time for my recap slash review of Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 16, The Rescue. Warning, spoilers ahead, including the big one at the end. But like I said, that is the end. So, let's jump right in. I don't really want to waste too much time. The rescue was interesting. I had kept checking throughout the week because for the other episodes, they would post the title 1 or 2 days, sometimes 3 days before the episode aired and announce who the director was and all that other stuff. Like Dave Filoni for The Jedi, they announced a week before he was writing and directing it. For The Rescue, they really didn't do that. The only thing they had released was it was a Jon Favreau written episode, and they did not, I don't think they announced the title till the day it aired. So I didn't know what the title was until I watched it, which I guess is the intent. You don't want to know ahead of time. I just did out of, accident for a lot of these. But they really kind of held off on announcing the director, I think, for a while. I was checking. And then they announced it, and it was Peyton Reed, which I was okay. I was interesting. And I saw that he was the guy who directed The Passenger, Chapter 9. I think it was Chapter 10, Chapter 9. Which I've said before, The Passenger is my least favorite episode of the season. It is really good. It is a really nice, awesome episode. It is not my favorite. Sad to say. But it was, The Passenger is my least favorite, so I was kind of nervous, especially when I'm I've never heard this guy. Peyton Reed has done a lot of comedic films. He did Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, which are two of the funnier movies in the MCU. And so that made me a little bit worried. I mean, The Passenger was good. It didn't really have... It was funny, but not really funny. But I was kind of worried because looking at his record, it was a lot of comedy. And yes, a couple superheroes, but funny superhero movies. So it made me worried what he was going to do because this is the episode we have been waiting for a while. This is where everything has been building up to. So it was what is he going to do to this episode? So it was really kind of nervous, but I think in the end it really played off. He did a really great job. Basically, with The Rescue, you start out, we are reintroduced to Dr. Pershing, who is from the first season. He is who Moff Gideon has been hiring to do all these experiments and stuff, and he is being transported to the Star Destroyer where Moff Gideon has Grogu. But they are not able to make it there. Boba, Fennec, and Din, or the Mando, however you want to say it, they arrive and they are able to take out the ship. They disable it with ions. Board the ship, and they find the pilot and co-pilot, the two Imperial soldiers, holding Pershing basically hostage. One of them has a gun to his head and says, if you kill me, I'll kill the doctor. You won't get the answers you're looking for. We don't care, whatever. But the other pilot says, wait a minute, we can negotiate, because he's getting kind of intimidated. You have two guys in Mandalorian armor, one of which is full-on Beskar, and then you have a former rebel trooper who's ready to roll and ready to go. And this is where once again we see how, I know I keep rambling, we see how devoted the remains of the Imperial are. We saw that in the Heiress, where you had the officers shoot the two pilots and then attempt to commit suicide and destroy the shipment, only for him to be captured, to prevent him from doing that, and then he bites down on a pill and kills himself. And basically, it's like I said, these are the people who believe in the Empire so wholeheartedly, they will die, they will kill themselves before revealing anything. And this is where we see that. We see the one trooper say, hold on, we can talk about this, we can make a deal. He doesn't want to die, he wants to live. And his fellow pilot shoots him for deciding that he didn't want to die. He was not willing to die for the Empire. So we're seeing that you have the one guy who was not willing to die for whatever it is the Empire was doing, and the other guy so willing to do what the Empire wanted that he shot who might have been his friend. We never know. But he continued, and after he shoots the guy, he turns on Kara and starts insulting her because she's a rebel trooper. She was from Alderaan. That's what her teardrop tattoo means. And he just starts like taunting her and pushing her and pushing her. And eventually she breaks. She shoots him. She misses Pershing, thank goodness. But she shoots the other trooper. They're able to capture Pershing. And through him, they are able to figure out where Moff Gideon is. But they still need some help, which I'm like, yay! In my head, everybody was talking about it being this great team up, just like in the last season where he went and he got Kara and Quell to come along with him and IG, and they kind of teamed up. So it was really like feeling like that, which was a really good episode. So in this one, I'm like, yes, he's gonna go get Ahsoka and Bo. I was partially right. He did go back and get Bo-Katan and Sasha Banks' character, who I cannot remember her name. I am so sorry. He finds them, and immediately when they showed the scene with the gauntlet, the Mandalorian fighter, I went, oh, Bo! He's going back and getting Bo-Katan. I got so excited. It was really interesting. It's like, come you help me? And I loved Boba and Bo's interaction with each other. She made it very, she was kind of mean to him, but I guess it makes sense from her point of view. The only interaction she would have had with clones would have been with Ahsoka, with the Republic troopers during the Clone Wars. And when you watch Clone Wars, particularly the 7th season, it's clear that the Mandalorian people don't really have a high opinion of clones, which is kind of echoed across the galaxy to begin with. So it was really interesting to hear her called Jango the donor, and she's kind of just being really insulting. And Boba is just like not letting her really get under her skin at all, and he calls her princess, which made me laugh. Because technically she is royalty. The Kreets, her clan Kreets was the ruling clan of Mandalore at the time of the Clone Wars. Her sister was Duchess of Mandalore. I think sometimes they refer to her as Highness, so they were basically planetary royalty. So technically she is a princess. So it was really fun. It was also really fun seeing Sasha Banks kick Boba's butt. That was just so much fun until Bo steps in and says, okay, stop it, both of you. Like they were children. And so that was really cool. I like the fight. I like what Sasha did with the jetpack. That was really interesting. The conversation Bo has saying she wasn't really that interested in going with them and helping them until Din says, guess what, where we're going, Moff Gideon's there, and you know he has the Darksaber. So she's like, okay, I'm in. Because Bo wants that Darksaber. The Darksaber, most importantly, Bo wants to save Mandalore. She wants to return her people to her planet. In order to do that, she needs to unite the clans. And as we can tell from Death Watch to New Mandalorians to the Watch, Children of the Watch, the different viewpoints are vast and sometimes clashing within Mandalorians. So they need to have that leader to unite under. And that was kind of the point of her having the Darksaber. The Darksaber is a symbol of leadership to Mandalorians, no matter who you are. So whoever holds the Darksaber, they're basically the de facto leader of Mandalore, symbolic and real, depending on who it is. So he's like, I can get you there and you can get the Darksaber and fulfill your dream. So she agrees. So they hop on the thing, and their plan is they'll take Pershing shows them where everything is, lets them know, hey, the Dark Troopers are here, you need to get rid of them, and points out that, yes, they started out as humans, as organics, but now they're droids. That was like the final step, was removing all emotions, and they are essentially droids now. They are creepy as heck, is what they are. So Boba attacks an Imperial shuttle, and they reach the destroyer. Send out a fake call of distress while he's shooting at them, and this includes one of the most amazing cinematic shots, I think, of the Star Wars universe, besides any time a ship enters hyperspace. We basically get a POV of what it's like to be in a TIE fighter as it's being launched from a Star Destroyer. Now, in the past episodes of Star Wars or anything like Star Wars TIE fighters, we just see them like fly out of a hangar. In this Star Destroyer, they actually have launch tubes, and a TIE fighter lines itself up and then is launched through this tube out into space. And it was a really cool shot and sequence. So that was really, really fun. That's also how Fennec, Kara, Bo, Sasha's character, and Din get on to the Star Destroyer. They slam themselves into that launch tube, crashing. Boba escapes. Boba goes bye-bye, which is part of the plan. And so they gain the ship. The girls split up from Dean, and this was really cool. I think this is like some of my favorite sequences of the show was watching Fennec and Bo and Kara and Sasha move throughout the ship and just really easily taking down Imperial officers and stormtroopers and just showing what badass, pardon my language, badass women they were and how strong and powerful you can be. So it was a really fun sequence to watch. In particular, the whole sequence when Kara's gun jams and she's trying to unjam it and she ends up just slamming it into the floor a few times and goes, okay, it works. I'm ready. And so it was just really cool to see what these women were capable of. And it was amazing. And Din, meanwhile, is sneaking through the ship. First order of business is to get rid of the Dark Troopers. This was kind of a like, ugh moment because he nearly gets them locked into their room. One of them manages to get out and the other ones just line up and then two of them start pounding on the glass of the doors and it starts cracking. I'm going, like seriously, I thought my heart was going to jump out of my chest because the Dark Trooper fighting Din at one point literally has him up against the wall and is smashing his fist directly into Din's helmet. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to get a concussion. He's going to die. So I was like sitting there freaking out. Even setting him on fire didn't work. So Din is like struggling against this Dark Trooper. Finally remembers, oh hey, I have this thing on his back. So he takes out his Beskar spear and jabs it into the Dark Trooper, which finally destroys it. He also is then able to send the rest of the Dark Troopers fluttering out into the void of space by opening up the airlock. That won't be the last I say of them. Finally, he gets to Grogu as the ladies have made it to the bridge and taken command, but they don't know where Gideon is. Gideon is with Grogu as discovered by Din, and he is threatening Grogu with the Darksaber. Gideon, how dare you? He offers Mando a deal. Take Grogu. He doesn't need him anymore. He got the blood he needed. Take Grogu, go away, don't even try to get the Darksaber, or take him to Bo-Katan so she can get it. Mando Din agrees. I'm going, oh my gosh, you idiot, don't go back on your promise. But he agrees, and for a moment, I actually thought Gideon was just going to let him walk away, didn't really care. I knew better. Gideon tries to attack Mando when his back is turned, and this brings us to the second, what I am considering the second coolest fight of this season. It is Din versus Moff Gideon, Darksaber versus Beskar armor and Beskar spear. It was amazing. It was awesome. In case you're wondering, my favorite fight from this season was Ahsoka's fight against Elizabeth, I think her name was. That was an amazing fight. So this was the second best fight of the season. It was really cool. It was so neat seeing that Beskar spear hold up against the Darksaber. I was like, there's no way. They were holding the Darksaber. I thought for sure at some point the Darksaber was going to actually cut through the Beskar, and it didn't. The spear held. He was able to hold his own, and not only that, he was able to beat Moff Gideon's butt. So it was a great fight sequence. Moff Gideon loses the Darksaber. It goes flying away from him, which I know in combat means the Darksaber now technically belongs to Din the Mandalorian. So that makes it interesting. With Moff Gideon captured, Din takes the child and the Darksaber back to the bridge where Bo-Katan has been waiting. Think Bo-Katan would be pleased? Unfortunately not. When Din goes to give her the Darksaber, Gideon laughs at them and points out that Bo can't take it because of the story. Technically, the Darksaber isn't really a powerful object for most people. It is a powerful symbol, and the story that goes with it makes it that symbol even more powerful. Since Din took the lightsaber off of Moff Gideon in combat, Bo has to fight him now in order to get that lightsaber. That is how it works. Darth Maul got the Darksaber, even though he shouldn't have had it, from Vizsla after defeating Vizsla in one-on-one combat and killing him. This is what Bo was planning to do with Gideon. She wanted Gideon alive to face him in combat so that she could defeat him and take the Darksaber correctly, the proper way, the Mandalorian way. Din facing Moff Gideon and defeating him means that he is now technically the holder of the Darksaber, not Bo. And Bo just can't casually take it. And now this is where it gets a little controversial. This is where it was even for me. If you watch Star Wars Rebels, spoiler, in Season 4, Bo does have the Darksaber because Sabine Wren, who finds the Darksaber in Season 3, gives her the Darksaber. And that is why I think Bo does not automatically take it from Din. It's because she took it from Sabine. She and Sabine did not fight. There was no combat. Sabine just said the dark saber belongs with you, and Bo took the dark saber. I think this is why Bo is hesitant just to take it from Din. She took the dark saber from Sabine without doing the ritual combat. And Mandalore has fallen. Mandalore is apparently basically destroyed by the Empire. And this happened while she was trying to lead Mandalore to stand up against it. So for her, since it might be like, since she didn't give enough weight to the story before when she had the Darksaber, she might see that Mandalore's fall was kind of her fault because she didn't put enough weight into that story. She didn't respect the traditions enough to honor that one tradition. So in this instance, she might have decided, she might be thinking, I can't do that again. I can't just take the Darksaber. I have to earn it. I have to fix what I've done. So I'm thinking that's what's going through her head, and I've read on that. I came up with that after reading a few other people saying that, basically the same thing, that Bo is feeling guilty because she did not do combat the first time she got the lightsaber. So that is why I think she's not taking the lightsaber right away. The Dark Trooper, while this is happening, the Dark Troopers have arrived back on the ship, and have made their way up to the bridge. A bunch of them are standing outside. They've closed the blast doors, but they are just pounding away at the blast doors. Gideon is laughing, saying, "Hi, you'll all be dead except for myself and Grogu," and he is happy. And then one X-Wing. This is the moment we've been waiting for since the Jedi, since the tragedy, is the arrival of the mysterious Jedi that Grogu reached out for. One X-Wing appears, and immediately I knew had a feeling I knew who it was. And it was true. As the Jedi moved through the corridors, we saw the black coat, the black glove, the lightsaber, the green laser, the fighting style. I knew in an instant it was Luke Skywalker. That X-Wing was a big clue. And then the lightsaber and the gloves and the outfit. Was I expecting it to be Luke Skywalker? Yes, I was expecting it to be Luke Skywalker. Did I want the Jedi to be Luke Skywalker? Honestly, not really. I knew deep down that if they did reveal who the Jedi was, it was going to be Luke Skywalker. I particularly did not really want it to be Luke. I knew deep down it was probably going to always be Luke Skywalker. But I was hoping for a different Jedi, maybe a new one that nobody knew about, somebody different. That would have been really cool. But it was Luke, and I'm not going to say I was disappointed. Like I said, I do kind of wish it was somebody different, but it was Luke Skywalker. It was really cool. The combat sequence was amazing. It did bring me back to Rogue One, the vibes of Darth Vader plowing down the rebels. It was basically Luke plowing down the Dark Troopers. They open the door, reveal it to be Luke Skywalker, and this is where the episode kind of moves into second place for me overall in the season. The CGI, it was good, but like everybody else who is also a Marvel fan, I have seen better CGI used to age down actors. Like in Ant-Man, like in Endgame, I can't remember what other movies, but they have used CGI much better in terms of aging an actor up or aging an actor down. So I have seen much better CGI in the Marvel movies, and I even think it was slightly better in Rogue One. The CGI for Luke kind of threw me off. I mean, it was cool they used Mark Hamill, but the CGI was really like, ugh, a little bit off, and just off enough to not make this, not to bump this episode up into first place. This is how hard it is this season. I am like nitpicking tiny little details as to the placement of these episodes because they have just been so amazingly awesome. I did cry a little. I was dealing with an eye issue at the time, so I couldn't cry full out, but I did cry a little because Grogu does leave with Luke. Oh my gosh. And before he leaves, Din picks him up one last time and takes off his helmet for Grogu. That made me so sad and happy, and also terrified because I know what happens to Luke's school in the future. But it was so nice to see that one moment with Grogu and Din, and as one person pointed out, Grogu touching Din's face, that might be the first instance of actual skin-to-skin contact Din has had with another organic being, and since he put on his Beskar armor. So it was very, very sweet and touching and sad, and we got to see R2 too, so that made me happy. And so Grogu's gone. Did I want Grogu to leave? No. Did I know Grogu was going to leave? Yes. And of course, as I said, it has been proven that they can do the show without Grogu. I think The Believer proved that. The Siege proved it. Grogu does not necessarily have to be in the show for it to be a success. So I think we're okay without Grogu. Do I think Grogu is gone forever? No. I'm sure we will see Grogu again at some point. But that kind of left us on a cliffhanger as to what's going to happen with the future of the show. I do have a theory. Seeing as how Din at the beginning of the episode said to Bo, if you help me with Grogu, freeing Grogu, as soon as I have seen Grogu safely to the Jedi to where he belongs, I will reconsider joining you in fighting for Mandalore. So it seems like Din is kind of ready to move on from like his more wandering bounty hunting ways, and he's ready to find something to fight for, and I think he's decided that thing to fight for after Grogu is going to be Mandalore. So heading into season 3 of The Mandalorian, I believe we are actually going to be going into a Mandalorian plot. I believe we're going to go into a plot to free Mandalore, and that's what season 3 is going to be, is Din working with Bo-Katan and her crew and other Mandalorians to free their homeworld, which will be really interesting. Now for the big reveal. If you guys, I did not actually stay to watch the credits when I watched it the first time. I got off the credits and then I was online. Everybody saying, "Oh my God, you need to watch the credits. You need to stay for the end of the credits." I'm like, okay. I turned back on the credits, and what was odd is it had not even hit me. Is when I watched the credits for a little bit, and then I had seen one of the names listed being Bib Fortuna, who was Jabba's major domo, and I'm like, was Bib Fortuna in this episode? Like, I did not remember seeing him, you know. Maybe he was in, like, the beginning scene or something. I don't know. So I didn't know. But I went back after everybody was saying, watch the credits. I watched the credits all the way through. And at the end, we went to Tatooine. The post-credit scene was Tatooine, Jabba's palace, where Bib Fortuna is now the head of Jabba's crime ring, since Jabba is gone. Go, Carrie Fisher. Go, Princess Leia. Fennec comes in, takes out Bib's guards. Oh my God, Bib got huge. Takes out Bib's guards, frees his slave girl. And then she stands there, and in comes Boba, and Bib Fortuna's like, "Oh my God, Boba, I thought you died. I didn't know you were alive. I'm so sorry." And basically whining and trying to defend himself, and Boba just straight up shoots him. Pushes Bib's body off of the throne, and then happily settles himself down on the throne, while Fennec grabs a bottle of spotchka and takes a ship. And the two are now, Boba's basically ruling over a new criminal empire. The screen fades to black with the news, the Book of Boba Fett, coming December 2021. I went, oh my God, I freaked out. I'm like, what the heck? Because here's what's, before I even saw this episode, I saw one headline. The headline mentioned the Book of Boba Fett. I didn't read the article because it was talking about the ending. It didn't have any spoilers, but I saw the Book of Boba Fett. And I'm like, oh, cool, they're making a book because they are making a Mandalorian novel. I thought, oh, the Book of Boba Fett's going to be like the book series. Like they had Bounty Hunter Tales, like a book series about Boba Fett, the Bounty Hunter Wars or something. In Legends, they're doing a book series about Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, about his adventures, about what he's been doing. You know, that'd be really cool to read. So I literally thought the Book of Boba Fett was a book. And then I saw the ending credits and I realized, oh my gosh, it's not a book, it's a flippin' TV show. So the Book of Boba Fett is a third spin-off of The Mandalorian that was not announced at Investor Days. In Investor Days, the two spin-offs they announced were Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka. So The Mandalorian has 3 spin-offs now, the third one being the Book of Boba Fett, which is coming out next year in December. I think the release date was December 21st. They are just starting to work on it. Okay? Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau come out, they've announced it because people were confused about a comment about how the next adventure, season 3 of The Mandalorian, something else. So people were confused thinking the Book of Boba Fett was replacing The Mandalorian season 3 and we were getting that later. No. The Book of Boba Fett is going to start work and start filming, and it will be released in December before Mandalorian season 3, which will start filming when filming wraps on the Book of Boba Fett. So Mandalorian season 3 is still slated to come out next year in December. It will air alongside the Book of Boba Fett. So next year, we're getting 2 Star Wars series, Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, and possibly Bad Batch. Also, Ming-Na Wen has confirmed that she will be in the Book of Boba Fett as Fennec. I was so excited last week talking about, oh my gosh, Fennec's going to be in Bad Batch, she's going to be in Bad Batch and The Mandalorian. Quite possibly, she could be in like 3 shows at once. Bad Batch, Book of Boba Fett, and The Mandalorian. So that is insane. And it just shows how much of a cool character Fennec is and how much Ming-Na was. Awesome. So, there you go. 3rd show. Yeah, it was a good, awesome season, obviously. Like I said, I nitpicked it. So, at the end of the season, my rankings of the show, so my ranking of the shows is number 1 for me is The Jedi. I don't think that will ever change. The Jedi was just a really great show. I'm such a huge fan of Ahsoka Tano, so I was really, really excited to see her. Close behind in second is The Rescue. Like I said, I have to nitpick a couple things, and the CGI they did for Luke wasn't the greatest. Also, I kind of wish Luke was not the Jedi that had come for Grogu, but it is what it is, and it was still awesome to see Luke. Number 3 is, this is hard. Number 3 and number 4 are really hard, but number 3, I'm going to have to say The Huntress. I love that episode, much like with Ahsoka. It really had to do with Bo-Katan. I wish it had been a little bit longer. That was the one complaint about The Mandalorian I have, is the episodes vary in length so much. So I wish the Heiress had been longer, but it was still such a great episode. And I loved seeing Bo-Katan, and that's why it's my number 3. Number 4 is The Siege. That was a really fun episode. It was really nice. It was great. I think we spent too much time with Cara, Greef, and the Blue Dude, so I really wish there had been more Mandalorian. I really wish we had seen the rush to get back to the school instead of just being, Mando's gone! Mando's in the ship with Grogu! I wish we could have had more of a connecting between that. Number 5 is going to be The Tragedy. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate with this. Well, actually, Tragedy and The Siege are kind of interchangeable for me, so technically, right, Siege could be number 4, and Tragedy could be number 4, and Siege is number 5. Basically the same issues with each one. The Tragedy will be my number 4, Siege will be number 5. Tragedy was just better overall, I think. I don't know why I had Tragedy at number 5, but I'm switching it. So, it's The Jedi, Rescue, Heiress, Tragedy, Siege. Like I said, Siege, I just wish there was more Mando stuff between him. And the Tragedy, I wish there was more, like, a little bit more backstory to Boba than him just showing the chain code. So I wish we had gotten more of that. Number 6 is The Believer. Like I said last week, The Believer was a really good episode. I just wish, like, these are really hard. There's just a little bit more I would have liked to explained about, especially in terms of Operation Cinder. Number 7 is The Marshal. I talked about this before. I could go my whole life. I'm not big on gross out stuff. I did not need to see a Krayt Dragon vomit. I don't know why they put that in. It was a great episode. Other than that, I really could live without seeing Krayt Dragon vomit. I'm not a gross out person. And number 8 is The Passenger, and that's simply because it was really creepy. It was a really odd episode. It worked. It was awesome. But the spiders were a little bit too creepy for my taste, and it definitely makes me go, ugh. So that is my ranking for Season 2 of The Mandalorian, with my top 3 favorites being The Jedi, The Rescue, and The Heiress. So, with that being said, tell me what you guys think down below. What are your rankings for this season of The Mandalorian? What episodes did you like, and what episodes could you live without? Also, tell me what you think about the surprise announcement of a 3rd spin-off series for The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett. What are you hoping to see, and what do you think will happen? Thank you guys so much for watching this season. Let me know if you want me to continue doing these videos. Drop a comment down below with any ideas or stuff you'd like to see in future vlogs. Hit that like button so I can keep doing what I'm doing. And don't forget to subscribe if you really like what I'm doing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm still hoping you are all staying safe, sane, and healthy. I'm sending you all lots of love, hugs, and prayers. And as always, may the Force be with you, because this is the way. Bye, guys.